Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. This is Seeking Sustainability Live, number 49. Very exciting. We have Cece with us from Sustainable Living Tokyo. Hi, Cece. Thanks for joining.
Hi, Joy. Thank you so much for having me.
Do you want to just briefly introduce yourself before we start?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Cecilia, but please call me Cici because I have a very long name. And yeah, I'm the founder of Sustainable Living Tokyo, which is a nonprofit that helps people transition to more sustainable lifestyles in Japan. And I'm also a researcher. Yeah, I do many things. So maybe, yeah, we can talk about
We'll
that
talk
later.
about it later. Yeah, don't worry. I've
Yeah.
got your bio here from the website. So, in Sustainable Living Tokyo, you are the founder. Congratulations, very exciting. And you are also listed as a coach. So, you do workshop coaching,
Yeah.
like mentoring. Do you want to explain a little bit about your coaching?
Yeah, that's actually really interesting. So yeah, we started the coaching, I think back in March, and basically it's a one-on-one chance to get all your questions answered, to discuss things that you're not like happy or open to discuss when we have like the group community workshops. Um, and it's donation based, so the first time is free, and then pay what it feels right. If you help or I help you, then you can make a little donation. So far we have two people, but yeah, it's very exciting to see the journeys. Every week we have different challenge. We meet every 2 weeks, and I give them a challenge, and then I ask them how it went, and I help them throughout the way by giving them tips or sending websites or information. So it goes like that. But basically, it's like a journey together. And
Like a sustainability mentor program.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I study psychology, like in my research. So I also look a little bit into like the mental barriers I could sense that the person is having. Like there is always those mental fears, or like I don't want to try composting because I'm scared of bugs. So we try to go over that before pushing them to the challenge.
Wow, that's interesting. And that's so important, I think, because a lot of people, when they think about sustainability, it's like I can't even imagine, not buying plastic, or I can't even imagine changing my lifestyle so much, right? So if you have a coach or a mentor, that works really well.
Yeah, definitely. And there's someone, right, sort of watching you, and they're thinking, like, oh, I need to report to CC whether I went to the shop or not. So
Yeah, accountability. That's
yeah,
so true. It kind of keeps you on target, right? When you have
yeah,
somebody, you have to check in with CC later, and you're like, oh, I got to do it then, right?
yeah. And also, I feel it's good support also if you're feeling lonely, right, in your sustainability journey. Because I don't feel everyone's like a very community oriented person, right? Like I don't want to probably share my whole journey with everyone, but I do want to have someone to share it with. So
Mm,
yeah,
that's
try to
great.
provide that.
Also,
Yeah, it's been fun.
do you want to talk a little bit about your studies from University of Tokyo? It sounds really interesting.
Yeah, yes. So basically, I studied biology. That's my background, and then I studied forestry, and I did a bit of indigenous. I was studied policy, forest policy, in indigenous communities in the south of Chile. But then I switched in my PhD to sustainability science because I wanted. I had sort of studied science, and then I studied like social studies. Like I became a social scientist. I was an ecologist, then social scientist. Then I wanted something to put it together. So I like done research in so many fields. It's so messy in that sense, compared to other academics that just focus on like these, like protein, and they study for 20
But
years,
for
right?
sustainability, it's so much better to have a wide view of different fields so that you can bring it all together because sustainability is everywhere, right?
Yes, that's true as well. And usually we don't know what we're doing anyway, so it's
It's
good to sort
new.
of like,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
kind of a new science,
or
right?
yeah, to borrow from different fields and try to make something out of it. So yeah, that's when I joined a sustainability science program, and my university has one of the few programs in the world, and that's why I decided. And within that, I decided to study sustainable consumption, which led me, because I look at the problem of plastics, and then it led me to study sustainable lifestyles adoption from like psychology perspective. So that's how sort of ended up where I am now.
Yeah, interesting. And you were studying the forestry in Chile, you said?
Yeah. So I lived most of my life in Chile. So not most, but when I was 14, I moved there, and so I did my undergrad there. So I had that connection, and I wanted to go back to do research there. So that's why I went back. So yeah.
Yeah, great. We have our first comment. Kyoko Nagano says, "Great, I'm participating in the urban eco gardening now." Thank you, Kyoko, for writing in. So that's one of your workshops that we'll talk about later, yeah?
Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
Say hi, Kyoko. Hi, Kyoko. See you on Sunday.
One
Yeah.
more thing in your bio here, you are also a climate reality leader. For people that don't really know about that, can you introduce that course a little bit?
Yeah, so Climate Reality is a training program on sort of communicating climate change and the effects of climate change. And it's a bit biased towards promoting sustainable energy like wind power and solar power. But basically, yeah, it's a 3-day training program. It's given by a lot of series of scientists, plus Al Gore is the sort of the leader of these. I think it's sort of a non-profit organization that tries to um, create more awareness toward climate change effects. So it's very focused on like disasters and what is happening and what has happened in a more raw way, right? It comes from, I think it all started with his journey from the documentary on Inconvenient Truth. And then he created this, and then he goes around the world. I think most of his trainings happen in the US, and yeah, people get trained for 3 days, and then you get sort of, you become a climate reality leader, and you have to, everything's free, but you have the commitment to make the commitment that you will give these presentations, you're given all the materials, and you will try. Actually, Joanna is also a climate reality leader. So yeah, it's a very good way to give people tools to also sort of communicate what has happened and also communicate science. So yeah, I think it's a good initiative. It's a very interesting initiative.
I think it's a collaboration between Al Gore and scientists and 350 org, right? 350
I
organization
believe so. Yeah,
is
yeah. I
is
think it's
behind it as well. And I know Marissa Galengser also did the
yes,
certification, right, in
yes.
Tokyo,
We met
and
there. Yes,
she was
yes.
she was teaching us about eco wraps in seeking sustainability. Which one was
Yeah.
Marissa? Let's see. I can't remember all the numbers. Anyway, yeah, that was fantastic. So you have a commitment to go and give the presentation if people want to have like a information session or talking about
Yeah.
sustainability.
You have to basically organize. That's why it's like also leader. There's a word leader because you have to take that leadership, and they have like leadership acts, like where you say, "Oh, let's go and like do this presentation." You organize the whole thing, and you can also call other climate reality leaders. And there is a website where you can check where the presentations are happening as well. And there's one day in November where presentations happen throughout 24 hours, so you can check. And we had one last year as well. So yeah, it's very interactive. It's interesting. It's new in Japan, so
Yeah.
it's kind of
No,
yeah.
it's another part of research and information gathering, which maybe is useful for the other projects that you're doing. That's great. So for Sustainable Living Tokyo, you're part of a team. You're working together with some other people. Is that right?
Basically, Sustainable Living Tokyo is me. I have someone who helps me with translations for Japanese and checking the Japanese. I have one of my, what would be like my staff assistant, my friend Kat, that I hope she's watching. She's great, and she helps me organize events as well. And yeah, we do sort of have people who want to jump in. It's kind of an open community, and I try to keep it flat. Like I manage stuff, but I want input from people all the time, and I'm always asking like, oh, do you want to write a post? Like, I feature someone, like I wanted to keep it that sense of a community and everyone can speak, and there is no like a hierarchy, right? Like, oh, she's the boss. Like there, I try not to foster that feeling. But yeah, I sort of manage. That
I
would be.
I like your tagline for the website. Sustainable Living Tokyo, founded in Tokyo in 2019. So you've been going for a year. Yeah?
Yeah, a bit more. Yeah. In January 2019, we had our first meetup,
Yeah.
and that's where I met Marisa actually.
Uh-huh. Is an initiative created to support transitions to happier and more environmentally conscious lifestyles in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you said
Yeah.
you lived in Chile. How does
Mhm.
Japan compare to Chile in terms of sustainable lifestyle?
Interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting. Well, I haven't been there in almost 5 years now. Um, it's just different. When I was a student, I was always basically always like reusing and recycling. So I was in those stages of sort of the journey at the time. There was no zero waste, right? And I always had my eco bag. So for me, it was always a bit different. Um,
Are
and
there more like reusable containers happening in
I think
Chile or
now,
yeah?
yeah, I think it has changed. I think there's a switch towards more like handmade, supporting local small businesses. Like that started a few years back, and now it's growing more. But when I was living there, I lived there until I was 24. It wasn't that much. It was still very much very capitalist country. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
but we didn't have that plastic anyways. I
yeah.
feel
I
like if
think
you
I
still go
think
to the
plastic,
market.
yeah, plastic is just a worldwide problem. But since you're in Japan, it's a great focus to try to decrease use of plastics and single use anything in Japan. On your website, you talk about the SDGs that you support. SDGs are a big buzz word for a lot of companies and organizations. Do you want to introduce the three that you chose?
I want to introduce mostly number 12, which is my favorite because it's sustainable consumption and production, and that's also my focus of research. Basically, for us in our field, we feel that's the center of everything, right? That's where everything happens, where job meets people and resources and waste. And that should be like the center of all the SDGs, and the SDGs should go around it. Because once we have true sustainable consumption and production, then we will be able to meet so many other goals. But the SDGs, the way it was designed and well, it's been conceptualized in many ways, still I don't think there's so much emphasis on that, and I feel that any initiative should always have that at its core, or be part of it. Like each 12 should be everywhere for me. Yeah, the other ones, one is health, I believe, and
Mm-hmm.
health has to do with the quality of life and what we call the good life, right? It's sort of the other side of consumption and production. Production is just waste and labor and people and flows of resources in the economy, right? But then the other side is the consumers. Who are the consumers? Why are they consuming? Does this bring well-being, and what does that well-being mean, and where, like, what's the classic graph on well-being and wealth and those indexes of countries, right? So yeah, health I think is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Would you remind me what is the other one? What was the other?
Climate action. So
Yeah,
your
climate action.
presentations, your mentoring, that's all part of your climate action.
Yeah,
Anything you're doing, right? Community building,
yeah,
which
yeah.
we will
Mm-hmm.
talk about later. Yeah, fantastic. And I think Katie O'Brien and I were talking about in terms of health and well-being to buy high quality items that you can
Mm-hmm.
use longer, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
also a big part of sustainability. So it's not just doing without. I think a lot of people have the idea that, oh, if I go a sustainable lifestyle, I can't have nice things. People always think, right?
Oh yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
actually,
yeah.
you can. You can have very high quality, wonderful things and just use them longer, use them for a much longer time.
Yes. Yeah,
Uh,
basic
yeah.
advice.
Let's look at your Instagram page. You guys are very active on Instagram. You've got the 2020 plastic free July coming up. Any plans?
Yes, tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we are going to have 30, like one tip, like one plastic-free living tip for each day of the month. Something simple, and we'll divide it by practices like eating, which will include eating on the go, cooking. Then we'll have shopping, then using products, and that includes fashion and buying products. So yeah, those are our main focus right now. And within those practices will include obviously the idea of plastic and waste, but I sort of like looking at it from the actions instead of just how much we produce of something or what we buy or not. I feel is well, it's one of the approaches we use in my research as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, no, good. And then on this page as well, there's a nice review from one of your customers because you sell some products as well. And she said the reusable pads, for example, the soap, the toothbrush, everything came without any plastic packaging. So she was really happy. Do you want to introduce the pads? I know that's kind of some people don't like talking about it, but it's a
uh,
reality for women, right?
yeah, of course, I think everyone should talk about it. It's something wonderful and it's part of all of us. I think actually we are planning to have. We haven't just have the time to have an event on the menstrual cup and sort of also talking about periods and talking about that periods are super normal and that you have so many options and you could also be comfortable talking about it, going through it, right? So, yeah, so the pads are made by a lady who likes working with organic fabrics. So she's my supplier. So all of our suppliers, our idea of a little shop is to provide products that are made in Japan, that are handmade, that support local producers, or just even like small entrepreneurs, right? Like someone has a sewing machine and some fabric and wants to provide a quality product. And I make sure like, oh, can you ship it and produce it as much like plastic free as possible? So they agree, and then we get the products from them. We try to help them as well with fair prices. For example, if we buy bulk, we say we don't need discount. Like we'll just take the full price because we want to make sure that you keep going with this business. For me, the shop is mostly like I know like we depend on donations, but Japan is not big on donations. So, oh, okay, you want to support us, you can just buy something from our shop. But it's like you don't need to, right? Like it's not our focus, and it wasn't something I wanted to do. Like for me, no consumption is sort of my goal. Like some people are zero waste. I'm like no consumption person. But then I felt there is a gap. There is a nice way to introduce actual value product. Like you say, right? You cannot do without, but you can find a good product. So that's the idea behind the shop.
So you want to introduce some of the popular products? You don't
Oh,
have too many products, but very high
not yet.
quality, very useful. Of course,
I have
no
a
no
loofah here.
plastic. Yeah, yeah. Please tell us about the
It's just
toothbrushes.
yeah, it's I wish I had them, which is kind of sad because I'm at my parents' home, so I don't have my stuff. I just have this loofah that I left for my mom. But
Okay.
so yeah, basically, I think the loofah is becoming popular, and the toothbrushes as well. The toothbrushes are the only product that is not like say handmade by just one person. These are provided by these Belgian Japanese startup called Just a Smile, and I really like them because they support education programs in South America, in Chile and Peru. So I think it's also a good way to like foster the right business practices. Yeah, it's really good quality brushes. Like I'm not saying it because we sell them. Like it really feels like a regular plastic toothbrush. And I think people find it appealing because of the design. So that's also a good like entry point for people to feel like, oh, I should have this item.
And the
The
case is really
toothbrushes,
cute, right? The
yeah,
the
the case
bamboo
is super
case as
popular.
well.
Yeah, the case is super popular. So the case has helped to like it's because it's unique as well versus other shops that have toothbrushes. I think only a few shops have the case. So case and loofah. Oh, the dishwashing soap also is quite popular. What else? Yeah, a little bit. I think everyone has like their own preferences.
Hmm.
I
You have
just
something here which
find.
I didn't know, the aroma wax
Oh
sachet.
yeah, I do have those
What is
here, which I.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. So I went to a shop one day. I think it was a flower shop in Japan, and I found these lovely things that are basically made out of soy wax and sunflowers. And when you are making this, you use essential oils. So it smells really good. So it's like a deodorizer, like a room deodorizer. So you can hang it in your closet or in the bathroom, and you can reuse it. Once the scent is gone, you can add more essential oil and it keeps working. And then finally, you can melt it in those special wax burners. So I really like it because it does become your waste. You can use it for long, and it's really good for these times. It's so humid and smells a bit like mold, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I use it for my drawers at bathroom, and it kind of looks cute. And they're really strong, so it kind of I feel like, oh, this is the solution, because in my house my mom uses a lot of those commercial products, and I cannot get her off those. So that's how I
Yeah.
got inspired into, like, I told her, look, this is beautiful, it's cute, you can reuse it and we can remelt it. Um, and it's so wax is vegan, so it was perfect. So that's why I bought those. But they haven't been that popular. I guess I should introduce them. I think they're more popular in like the Japanese audiences.
Yeah, it's interesting. And then you have some upcycled products. Do you want to introduce them? The
Oh
upcycled
yes,
handbag, upcycled
yes.
bag. Mm-hmm.
The upcycle bags are made from obis, like those Japanese sash for kimono.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have 2 or 3 bags. We used to sell those better in the markets because I think it attracts people and they're pretty and they show like Japanese culture. So I love upcycle products. So that's why we kept them in the store. Um, and I think there's another bag that is made out of lace. So I have a lady who likes buying used clothes that are either too small or they still look new, but nobody buys them very cheap, and she turns them into these lace bags because some ladies love having like a little fancy bag. So it's kind of nice because that blue bag was a skirt before. She just
Mm.
turned it into this very cute lace bag. Um, yeah, we have a little shop in Sendai, a lady that sells amazing. So she's the one selling our lace bags mostly. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we're kind of scattered a bit,
No,
but
that's good. Collaborating with different businesses, really good. Where do you get your loofahs from? I've
I
never
found it
seen
online.
loofahs in Japan.
I search. I search a lot. I do a lot of searching. I love looking at products and stuff. Yeah. So I search a lot, and that's how I come up with these products. And of course, it has to meet so many conditions, right? So I found like people that grow them in their homes, but it's like they have big sort of plantation and they grow them. They keep the seeds. They grow them without pesticides as much as possible. Of course, it doesn't have certifications, but they try and they dry them. So I finally found one person and I told them, can you ship it plastic free as usual? And they agree. So yeah, just searching a lot everywhere.
I didn't realize it's a plant. You just
Yeah, it's a plant.
wow. For some
It's a
reason,
plant.
I thought it was like a sponge, like under the ocean or something. They're
Oh, Alpha,
plants. I did
it's
not
like
know
a
that.
cucumber. Yeah, it's like a cucumber. It grows. It's a vine, very cute. You know, like Goya,
Uh huh.
and it's very thick. And then they, I think they, I was watching videos how they make it, and I think they remove all the seeds,
Okay.
and then they let it dry, and this is basically the inner structure of the fruit.
Does it
But you
have to
can
be
eat the fruit.
grown like in a tropical climate? Can it grow anywhere? Do you know? Where do
I'm not
you
very
where do you
sure.
import them from?
But this is in Japan.
Oh,
This
what?
is Japanese. Yeah, all
What?
the stuff I tried to make them Japanese. Only the toothbrushes are Chinese. All of the stuff I made in Japan by
Wow.
one person usually. Yeah.
Wow, that's
Um,
great.
yeah, and I like it because they flatten them
Mm-hmm.
to make it fit better in the envelopes, but then you just wet them and they become round and cute. And I just enjoy it so much. It's so silly, but it's
Fantastic.
so
And
nice.
then when you're
Yeah, you
finished
can compost
using them,
it.
You can just put them outside in the garden because they're natural. Wonderful.
And you can cut them like any size you need. So yeah.
That's great. Oh, I'm going to get one. I love them. Let's talk a little bit about one of your missions for your business is community building. Can you
Yes.
tell us some of your projects or ideas?
Yeah, so basically we are a community. That's how I like to feel that it is. We have like core members that I always run into them, like either our events or other eco events, and it's kind of nice because I'm always, even if I go alone, I meet someone that I met before. I think, like I went to reality leader training and I met Marisa, and we had talked before. Then I went to a swap and I met another friend. So it's I feel that the community is there and they know like Katie is part of our community. Um, and basically, so what we try is to have a monthly meeting is either a lunch and we have a special guest or we just eat and share our knowledge. Now we started doing it online. Um, so yeah, we try to keep, and usually people keep coming, the same people, but it's very free, you know. I don't tell them, they know it's there whenever they're free, and they know me, and they can join anytime. I don't like sort of pressure them, like, oh, we have a meeting, we have to meet all of us. It's very free and it's nice because I have people that come back, and people obviously they don't come back, but still there. So that is what we want to do in the need for sort of when you start being sustainable, you feel so lonely, right? Yeah. So to fight that loneliness, that lack of like support, that finding, oh, he does the same thing. We had the same thing with the urban gardening course that people say like, oh, there's more crazy plant people like me. Like I'm so happy that to find that person, right? So I was also I started basically out of my own feeling of loneliness. Like it wasn't anything altruistic. Like I was just wanted to find that community myself. And
So maybe
yeah, so that's why
one of the
it's a core.
examples of your community building was the Hanami party, the zero waste
Yeah, we
Hanami.
had that. Yes, last year we had like 32 people joining. Yeah, that was quite big and nice. Yeah, so we had Christmas party, which was so nice as well. We had about 20 people joining, and we had um, uh, a lady, Emily, that's doing the gardening course, and she's so awesome because she sings wonderfully. So she sang songs about like nature. She's an ecologist as well, a researcher. So I don't know. The party was like peak community for me. I was so happy.
Can you
Um,
tell us a bit about how you did the zero waste Hanami? Because I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think was one of the first. So basically, we just told people we're having a hanami. It'll be zero waste. You cannot bring plastic. I mean, you can bring like tuppers that are plastic, but you cannot bring like anything disposable. And you have to bring your own utensils and your own cups and bottles and everything. And let's keep it as low waste as possible. And we actually for the what is it called? I can't just think of the Japanese or the blue shito, the picnic mats. We picked them up from what people had thrown away, and we washed them in the toilet, which was very messy because you know the water just comes like by bits, right? So wash like 4 meters of that. It was fun. But yeah,
But
so
it,
we just set the rules, and
mm-hmm.
it worked. People did bring their things from their home, like picnics should be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like just bring your own food and your own drinks to share.
And then just a focus on reusable containers and having bigger containers and just using your own utensils and hashi, reusable hashi, and then sharing
Yeah.
and reusable plates. We did the same thing. I was doing a Seeking Sustainability event until
Mm-hmm.
coronavirus, and we were doing the same thing:
Mm-hmm.
reusable plates, reusable cups, and you just imagine what you would do at home with friends, and
Right.
it's
Yeah.
not so difficult, right? And
Yeah. It's doable. Like, mm,
I love your
it's
picture
very.
on the Instagram of your one small bag of garbage at the end compared to the many, many, many bags of garbage that's so
Yeah.
typical
Yeah.
of the Hanami parties. So it makes
Yeah.
a big
Yeah.
difference, right?
Yeah. It does. Besides, I feel like a picnic that is there was so much beautiful. Like I prepared the drinks from home. We try to make it really beautiful. You know, it's a strategy. uh, so yeah, we try to. my partner at the time that was doing the hanami with me, she brought this tomato that she had got at the farmer's market. So that was really nice. She brought stuff that were zero waste.
Yeah, wonderful. And you also said in the post you were thanking the companies for giving you some of the food without waste. So maybe you picked up in your
Oh yeah,
container.
she did that, and she talked to the farmers in advance. So I think she got dates for us. So she talked to them and asked them if she could pick up like I think 2 or 3 kilograms. So that was a lot of dates for us that they could provide plastic free, and they agree. I mean, it's hard to get to that point, but they said yes. So yeah, that was nice.
I find the best thing to do, like you think, oh, they're gonna say no. If I ask them, they're gonna say no. But the main idea, just ask them. Like sometimes they say yes. Sometimes
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
amazing. And then you're like, I never would have asked before. So you got to challenge yourself to just ask and be nice about it. Be like, is it okay if I get it in newspaper, or is it okay if I use my own bag? And then sometimes they say yes, and then you're so happy because you have no plastic waste. So wonderful.
yeah. I actually about that. I'm reading this book that is called Daring Greatly, which was written by a shame researcher, and it's super interesting from the point of view that why we don't take such actions and how shame keep us in this sort of comfort zone. And I think, yeah, I feel that at least in my case that I was ashamed of like talking, either is it Japanese or being sort of foreign, because I'm like sort of foreign, sort of Japanese. That shame that keep us, and then we disengage. I really recommend to anyone the book is really life changing. So yeah, I feel that you have to think, why should I be ashamed of being equal, of talking, of showing myself, Like, I think that if we go past that shame and we're just vulnerable, that we will probably be rejected, then you can break that barrier.
Yeah. I really feel like it's getting easier in Japan. Do you have that feeling that every time I ask, no bag, I'm okay, it's so much easier now? Can I use my own container at the bakery? Oh, it's so much easier now. So in the last 5 years, I notice a lot of positive change. Like it's getting easier. People are more
I
aware, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Um, I guess so. Still, a supermarket is pretty much all plastic. But yeah, there is more actions. I'm very happy about the fact they're gonna charge for the bags everywhere, right? And I seen people go out with their eco bags now. So I'm like, oh my god, like there, there is there is a
For me,
thing that is happening.
the
Change is
convenience
happening.
store is still a big challenge, right? The convenience store, and they
Yeah.
pack it in the bag so quickly. Sometimes you can't even say, no bag, please. But even
Yeah.
even that
Yeah.
is going to change soon, right? So
So excited.
next month,
Yeah.
I think.
Actually, I went to convenience store the other day and I saw that lady who said, "Is it free?" And the guy said, "Yeah." And then she said, "Okay, I want it," but otherwise that she was going to. And I thought, yeah, that's interesting. Only as a tiny
Well,
like
they've
intervention to make
they've
this
done
change.
they've done a lot of research about asking. If you ask, the first step, do you ask, do you need a
Yeah,
bag? If you ask, many people will say, no, thank you.
not really,
If
right?
you
Yeah,
charge even a little bit, many more people will say, no, thank you. And then the next step would be banning completely. Like we just don't have any. Sorry, you got to bring your own, right? But
yeah,
nobody even asks, right, in Japan. So for me, that was really frustrating because we do the monthly cleanup on the river, and I find 7-Eleven convenience store bags all the time in the water, in the river, right? So every time
yeah.
I go
So
to
annoying.
7-Eleven, I always tell the staff, I always find you guys' bags. I found a lot of bags today, and I always tell
Uh,
them, just ask. Please ask people.
yeah, I think they can't. Um, I think they have to avoid like bothering the customers. Like people are annoyed by certain interactions.
But
So
I heard, I went to 7-Eleven yesterday to send a box and I heard the staff asking. So I was really happy.
yeah, now they ask.
I think they're getting ready for the charge, maybe. So now they're
Yes.
saying, do you need one? Yeah. So
They're gonna save so much money themselves. Like, yeah.
I think that's another problem with plastic though. It's so cheap. So it doesn't really cost them that much, do you think?
I think, yeah, for how many bags and how many 7-Elevens are there in this country? And also because I know the 7-Eleven, I think, uses 30% or 70% biomass in content in their bag. So it's a bit more expensive bag. But it's supposed to be biodegradable.
No.
Yeah.
7-Eleven bags? Really?
Yeah, they have a little symbol. And I learned this at there's a very big every year the fair, the environmental fair in the big site, which is where they're talking about what the industries are doing to become more like eco-friendly. But it's all very industrial, right? Like just mixing materials, adding biodegradable to everything, like sort of a bit between greenwashing and it's working, maybe, right?
I sometimes challenge these ideas. You know, when a company says, oh, ours is biodegradable, and I have a garden and I leave it outside in the garden and I take photos, and after 2 months I give up and say, no, that's not biodegradable. Like you gotta test it for yourself, because if you just trust what the company says, quite a lot of times just greenwashing. Let's talk about one of your webinars you did about the gift economy. Do you want to introduce that?
Yeah, we had a guest. He is he's a founder of an initiative called Free Movement or Free Evolution. Well, it's Free Evolution. Sorry. So basically, they promote gift economy. It's not their idea, but the idea is that you give people things for free, just as a present. Like there is no exchange of money, but of sort of bartering. But at the same time, there is no expectation of I'll get something in exchange. Just pass it on. Like I send someone something, and then they share it with their neighbor, and so that was the idea basically behind it. There was something I was interested from last year, because when you start an initiative, you feel like honestly speaking, what if this is gonna be, right? Is it a business? Is it a sustainable business? Is it a non-profit? Like, how are we gonna be able to afford our activities, our time? How we send the right message to people that we don't want to make money, but also it's unfair that we don't get paid, right? Because I feel lots of good work in this world that goes unpaid. Even research is highly unpaid. So I'm like, why this is not paid? Like for me, people getting fair salaries is the basis of sustainable production. So yeah, all those things. So that's why we had introduced a bit of a gift economy. I mean, in an ideal world, that would be the most ideal way to share goods and services, right?
That's so interesting. I never really thought about that, but it makes so much sense. And I think in Japan, where gift giving and gift giving back is such a big part of the culture, that kind of goodwill of gift giving and helping someone if they need something, I'll give it to you. I think it's very embedded in Japanese culture. It's a really beautiful thing. Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
But gift economy also emphasizes not in the fact that it should be things. It should be like I teach you Spanish, say, or you teach me gardening. So more like experiences.
Like a bartering, yeah. I love that. Trade, like old-fashioned trade.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? There's that system of not using money, right? And then with coronavirus now, you see a lot more of people helping other people in need, right? Or we see, like you said, that a lot of good work, a lot of essential work is paid very low or not paid. So one of the things that we realize, we really need people to work in the supermarket. We really need people to grow food in the farms, right? We really need doctors and nurses. So all the high salaries in the offices, when it comes to emergency, we don't actually need them, right? As much as we need the basic services. So I think coronavirus has made us think about our value economy, right?
Definitely, yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, we really hope it's going to change the way, yeah, it's going to create a lot of change. We're really hoping on that, but we'll see as well.
Yeah, fingers crossed. You also did an eco wrap workshop, did you, in one of your pictures? Did you try to
Yeah,
make them? It's really hard. I've tried to make
it's
before.
very hard. Yes.
I have
We
so much
had,
respect for Marissa. My goodness.
oh, yeah, those are perfection, right? Like, and she makes it look like so, like she just woke up and look, I made this. Like, oh, yeah, no, we had a wonderful lady who she, like, I don't like being an expert or anything, so I always find people who will teach and do, and and so I found this lady, and she used to give the workshops, and she was a designer. Yeah, she put so much, she worked on product display, so when we had the workshop she made sure everything looked beautiful. There was a wonderful experience. People could design their own, make their own designs, and she had put a lot of work into researching how to make the best mix of oil and wax. So she used to provide the already mix, so she would cut the wax and mix it with oil and melt it, and then that would be the main ingredient to use, right? Because if you do it separately, you have to mix the oil and the wax, right? And that's another step. So yeah, we had these very wonderful workshops, and that's how it was possible. But unfortunately, she passed this year, so
Oh,
the
that's too
workshops
bad.
ended. But it was really beautiful. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know, but it was
it's a
so
lovely,
beautiful experience for us.
lovely experience to pass on. And like you said, you can't do everything, so you ask people to help. But that is part of your community building. That is a really wonderful thing that you're doing by asking other people to be involved in your circle of
Mhm,
expertise, or you're also spreading awareness, right? So that's great.
mhm.
Good job. You also did almond milk making.
Oh yeah, that's the one I did myself.
Let's hear about it. I've never made that.
Yeah, almond milk. I started making it last year because I never have liked milk since I was little. And then I learned more about milk, and I really find it disgusting. Of course, I have my occasional latte. I'm never gonna say that I don't. But I was, yeah, researching on like plant-based milks, and so we had a partner, a colleague in Greenpeace Japan, and she's very wonderful, and we were brainstorming what kind of events one we want to do, and then we came up with almond milk one. Yeah, we did it online, and it was really fun. We had 10 people joining and making the milk with us, and it's rather easier than it looks like, and it was fun. There is these, I think before we didn't think that we could communicate through like online, but it worked, and we could all share and see. And we also, I had a little presentation on how to choose the milk, right? If we had oat milk, for example, we should go for that. That's the most sustainable one. But in Japan, we only had soy, which is local. Almonds are not local, but they are carbon neutral, but they use a lot of water. So we presented all this data. But almond milk is very popular in Japan, so we know that people will still go for almond milk. So if you're gonna go for the store one, you might as well make it, because the store one has like 10% content of almonds, and then there was like fat and all these additives. So you should make your milk.
And you have all the packaging as well, right?
Yes, exactly. So
And
we said like
yeah,
you should make it.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we'll
I
have
in
it again.
in one of our events, I did a short workshop making oat milk. It's actually a lot
Oh,
easier than you think. And so basically, you just blend up oats and water, and then you strain it, and that's it. Like
yeah, same.
that's
Basically, it's the
basically
same.
it. And then one
Yeah.
of the people at the workshop said, and then you can use what you strained, and you can use that as a face pack. That's wonderful
Oh
face
yeah, yeah.
pack. And so
Mm.
it's nice. You can do the workshops together, and then you can share knowledge. I love that. So
Yeah,
basically, how do you make almond milk? Do you just blend
it's
up
the
the
same.
almonds? Yeah?
You have to soak it the night before,
Okay.
and then you have to remove the water, and then you just blend it and strain it. That's that. You add a bit of salt, water, dates if you don't want to use sugar, vanilla essence, chocolate. They synthesize chocolate, and then the almond meal that comes, I make it into pancakes. Yeah, so it doesn't last long. So you gotta like have it within 1 or 2 days
I see.
tops. So that's sort of the area there. But
Yeah,
yeah,
sounds
it's super
great.
easy as well. It's super easy. It's
Yeah.
super yummy. Like I honestly liked it much more than the oat milk.
Yeah. And yeah, some people, it's nice to have choices because some people love the oat milk, some people love the almond milk,
Yeah.
some people love the
Mm-hmm.
soy. So if you have loads of choices, that's great.
Yeah.
I
Also, it's
heard
much more
I heard
low carb.
Starbucks is supposed to offer plant-based milk for free now. So
Oh,
it is
really?
it
Free?
is
That's
well,
awesome.
same as regular milk. So regular milk's always free, but until recently plant milk was charged a little more. So that's nice that they're offering for the free price, same as regular milk. You
Oh,
also
nice.
did a climate strike online. Do you want to introduce that?
I haven't really got around to just like do it write a sign by myself, which would be nice. But I did wanted to bring attention to that you could have you could still do it online, and I think it has a lot of visibility because people can see your posts, right, more than even if you go out on the streets.
That's true.
Yeah,
It's
but I
it's
wish I was
difficult,
doing
right?
that.
Because
Yeah,
there was the momentum, Fridays for the Future momentum, everybody getting together, having a strike once a week, once a month, and then yeah, during
yeah,
coronavirus you can't,
coronavirus.
right?
Yes, but we did have an event with one of the founding members of Fridays for Futures Tokyo, and yeah, he was telling us about what they do and how the movement is growing, and it's so nice because they're so young. So yeah, it's really interesting.
That's great. You also did online brunch.
Yeah, we had that. That was our first online event, and that was our test event. Like, let's see how many people log in, and like if there's that need, like sort of exploring, right? So yeah, that was very relaxed. Like, let's just hang out, let's talk. Um, yeah, it was, and I think we had a speaker. And I don't remember whether we had one or not. But yeah, the online brunch was one of the. So basically, I divide events into mainstream events, which like I know it will attract all kinds of people, like new crowd, and that's like zero waste Hanami. Like people will see Hanami and there's all like Christmas parties, more like, oh, it's a party before being like eco. Then we have events that are community based where we hope that our core members will come. And if we don't have new people, I'm pretty happy because I want to stay with people I know. And the other events are skill building events, like the workshop. So it's like very divided onto what is the purpose of each event.
Yeah, that's a good idea to have a variety to tap into different audiences and different kind of groups, but also
Yeah.
be building your brand and building your customer loyalty as well. It's a great idea. You also had I can't say that word,
Huh?
Ayurvedic practices.
Oh, Ayurvedic. Yes. Ayurveda. I guess Ayurvedic. I don't know how to say it in English. Oh yeah, I wrote a post about that because my best friend is Indian. I hope she's watching. And she knows a lot about Ayurveda, which is wonderful. So she sent me these like guidelines for the like official ministry of Ayurveda in India. So I read it. I was like, oh, this is awesome information. Like not like strange things on the internet. So I wrote that post. That was the beginning of coronavirus, I think. And we also made the golden milk during the. Do you know about golden milk?
No,
The
what
one
is
that
that?
is. So it's a milk that is boiled. It could be any plant-based milk or regular milk with turmeric, with a bit of turmeric, and it really makes you. It's kind of chai, like a kind of a chai with spices. It's
Mm.
very strong and warm and nice. So as it was also new to me, so I made it with the people in the workshop, and they were like, oh yeah, this is interesting. Like to try something new, right? I always like to add that like new element. Like there's something. What is it called? Innovative? No, there's no word. But
Novel.
something that
Mm-hmm.
yeah, novel. Like people say,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'm gonna learn something interesting. I think that's also a good way to appeal to people to join us.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the most popular DIY workshop things we did at the event was making your own toothpaste. So it's actually not so difficult. We
Mm-hmm.
used baking soda, a little bit of coconut oil, and turmeric. And
Oh,
I've been using that for about a year now, and I love it. Yeah, and
nice.
so you don't have all the plastic packaging from the toothpaste. It's good for your teeth, and yeah, I like it. So when I first read the recipe, I thought turmeric in toothpaste, gross, but it is actually really good. So I'm gonna try your
Yeah.
golden milk with
It's
turmeric.
yeah, the recipes it's in the blog post in our blog. Just
Okay.
try it. It's super good. Like in winter is better because it makes you really warms you up.
Yeah.
But like rainy day like today, that would be wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
today's rainy here as well. You also
Yes.
had an interesting post about post coronavirus for scientists. Help scientists.
Okay.
Can you explain that?
Okay. So at the beginning of coronavirus, lots now there's so many surveys to understand what's gonna happen with lifestyles after Corona. So right now, almost a part of our working group, we're devising another survey for what are the changes gonna be, and we're focusing on which behaviors will stay locked in into the new lifestyles, right? Like growing veggies maybe will become something that every more mainstream. So that's one of the surveys, one of the first ones that was shared to me. So I decided to share it. But now there's so many because getting this data is so important to know how to direct the new lifestyles and to kind of grasp as well like what kind of future we will have, right? And whether it's possible to have that sustainable future. So yeah, that's something that I'm very passionate about. Like we believe change has started, but we don't know to what extent change will stay with us. So that's why we are doing this research.
Can you give us an example of something?
Growing your own food,
Okay.
that is gardening, it has been exploded everywhere. Uh, consumption preferences has changed. Like fashion is the people are not interested in fashion, consumer goods, luxury items. The sale of pajamas is through the roof. So things like that, that tell you a lot of lifestyles. Um, so yeah, it has changed a lot. People have started buying mostly food, and we're also looking at how people are spending their time at home. People have switched from hobbies, going out to cleaning, working at home, childcare. So we're looking also, those are like the high intensive practices that we have to look now. And people probably will realize like, oh, I didn't need to go out that much. I can spend more time at home. So definitely the landscape of overall consumption is changing. In myself, I used to go to cafes every day to work, but now I go like once a month. Like I feel I make my own coffee at home now. So lots of people also, the sale of like high like level coffee beans have increased in other countries, right? So yeah, there is huge changes.
Wow, interesting. So looking at
Yeah.
consumer trends and also the kinds of products that are being made and in demand, and then giving advice to companies or to scientists about what the trend is going to be like or what you foresee in the future, that kind of thing.
Yeah, what is going to happen in the future? We are hoping to try to communicate to people that these are behaviors that help you. Like imagine that these behaviors help you cope through the crisis, and maybe they could help you cope throughout climate change, throughout your regular lifestyle, right? So like even my parents started gardening and they spend a lot of time in the gardening. Now they realize like, oh, this is really great. Then now they want to compost and they're like really never been interested in this. So those entry points, but our idea is that how we make them stick, how we make them that people won't go back to say, why do I have to grow my own tomato if you can just buy it for like 100 yen, right? So that's the part we don't know. That's the part we're still like, what? How can we tackle this now?
Yeah, wow, interesting. Well, I've gone through all the photos that I had. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about? What do you have coming up for the last 5 minutes?
Oh,
talk about your
Okay,
future
sure.
future plans?
Future plans. We are planning. We're gonna keep doing online events for a bit. Because well, myself as a scientist, I still feel it's not safe to go out, and I don't want to promote that sort of behavior. Um, so I think we'll keep doing online events. What we want to do, and this is something we haven't really gotten yeah, it's there, but we want to have a sustainable consumption academy series, like sort of workshops, 3 or 4, and we'll invite some researchers or people that are knowledgeable about different topics. And I feel that within the community, there is also need for more knowledge, like bringing the science. So I want to talk about, yeah, footprints, life cycle of products, different trends like business models. What else? So yeah, I want to emphasize, but in a way that is easy to understand, right? Like if this is not the regular business model we're following, what is the alternative? What the scientists are working on? Also a bit on climate change science, right? What's really going to happen? What the Paris Agreement mean? Um, yeah, so this is like kind of more advanced level of sustainable living if they want to know.
That's
And we're
great.
hoping to have a workshop on yeah, we're hoping to have a workshop on change, like how to mm, inspire change in others. That's also something we get asked a lot. Like, oh, how do I convert my parents, right? Like, how do I convert my neighbors, stuff like that. So that one.
Well, you've studied psychology as well, so that,
Mm,
and for me, it's always a focus on psychology and marketing because even though you're talking about
definitely.
sustainability, you have to work out how you can sell it. How can you get people
Of course.
interested, right? So I think you've got a lot of ideas which can tap into that kind of sustainability marketing. You seem to have that good
Yeah.
mindset. Any
Yeah.
any new products you'd like to add to your shop?
Yeah. Oh, yes. We are going to add soon some sashiko cloths. Was sashiko is kind of Japanese embroidery where you make a line like vertical, then or horizontal, and then it turns into this more thick material. It's so pretty. It's so beautiful. So we're introducing that because it's handmade. It's really pretty, and I thought, oh, we can introduce I don't know. I see products and I feel, is this useful? How long will people use this? How beautiful it is? How appealing it could be? And also the work that was put into making such a thing. So yeah, that's, and we're going to introduce a sori, like it's like a flip-flop made out of like leftover fabrics. And I like those because I use slippers now and I think they are not good for summer. So yeah, we're going to introduce those
Yeah,
two
great.
products now. But yeah, I for now that is. But yeah, anyone who wants to support us, the shop is the way.
That's great. And then you said personally, you've also got your research papers and things to do. Any
Oh,
interesting topics you'd like to share, or is it top secret?
not really. Well, I'm basically a zero waste life science researcher, so I'm studying how adoption happens and how we can turn. Like, actually, zero waste lifestyle is very interesting because there's no theory on it. There is like the practitioners, it's very trendy, but it doesn't exist so much in academia. So I'm writing, trying to write a bit of the theory on that. And we are working in the lifestyle changes after coronavirus project, and I'm working on the urban ecology project. So actually, our urban ecology course is a research project, and our participants know it. So basically, the core of our project, and I think this is a good way to introduce it, is to see if people become more close as a way to support pollinators. So Amelie, the lady who's doing this, she is an ecologist and she studied pollinators, bees, and other insects. So we want to see how to improve the interaction between humans and pollinators in urban ecosystems. So yeah, that's our next exciting project. I'm measuring because I'm interested in psychology. I'm measuring something we call biophilia, which is the closeness to nature and how to increase it, and that could branch into being interested in environment and then becoming more sustainable. Basically, everything I do is just how to become more sustainable in the end.
Yeah. And it's exciting to learn more as well, right? Like as you reach out to experts, as you reach out to people that can teach you things, you're developing your brand, but also your knowledge as well. How interesting. Thank you so much for joining today. That was wonderful.
Thank you so much, Joy. I
Yeah,
enjoyed a lot.
that was
I really enjoy
wonderful.
it.
And please keep up the good work. You're doing so many wonderful things for the environment, but also for community building. So I support you and I cheer for you. Keep up the good work. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Can I add something?
Of course. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, just tell people that if they're interested, we're super open and just join us. Like we are looking for volunteers. They want to do their own events. I always say this: you have an event idea, we can make it happen. So yeah, anyone who wants to take action, we are definitely here for you.
And the best place to get in touch with you, maybe through Instagram or
Everything, yeah, you
Facebook.
can reach me everywhere.
Okay.
Everywhere, yes. I always
Wonderful.
check everything.
That's great. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining. See you again tomorrow.
Thank
Bye.